Have you ever seen a 60-year-old man with hair this gorgeous? I bet you haven't.
I would have never guessed you were 60.
I'm almost 60. And look at Russo. He accused me of dyeing my hair. He didn't think my hair was real. He thought I was like a lot of guys in the wrestling business that worry and stress out a lot. I don't worry. I don't get stressed. I know I'm the best at what I do. I got nothing to worry about. I'm set for life because you know why? I'm smart with my money. And I don't go out and blow all my money on multi-million-dollar homes and all the what. Well, I do live in a $1 million home, but I didn't pay for it. A sponsor covered it for me. And when you're smart, you use other people's money, not your own money. And that's why people give me a hard way to go. Well, Brolin, if he ever opened his wallet, a bunch of moths would fly out. Well, I hope so, because I don't open it often. And when I do open it, it's maybe for something I really, really like a Big Mac. For whatever reason, McDonald's won't trade with me. Is that a shame or what? I can eat at any restaurant in this town free of charge, but McDonald's won't trade with me. So I don't eat as many Big Macs as I'd like. We all got problems, Jeff Lane. We all have problems.
Yeah, some of our brand members, they hadn't even seen the Attitude Era until they found this show. So there's a lot of young fans out there.
That's young people without internet skills is what that is.
Yep, but they, a lot of them, they found Vince this way. They got to go back and watch a lot of that stuff. So you mentioned Cena and Lesnar and all these names that you had a lot to do with. So for the people that maybe don't know that story, set them straight.
Well, I was the manager of the developmental territory of called Ohio Valley Wrestling. That was the developmental territory for the WWE. And back when we first started, Memphis had a developmental territory. Cincinnati had one. Texas had one. California had one. And there might have been a couple others in there. But slowly but surely, they all faded away, and there was one left standing. And guess where that was? That was the place that had a manager called Kenny. At that time, the King Brolin. I hadn't earned the name Starmaker yet. Oh, Jimmy Cornette gave me that name. And I appreciated that because people have been calling me the King since I was 14 years old. Jerry Lawler stole that name from me. We've talked about it. I've confronted him about it on his podcast, Dinner with the Kings. And that led to me being arrested and beat up by the Memphis police. But we'll talk about that another day. Lawler and I are trying to patch that up, and I think we're real close to doing it. As a matter of fact, I think they're going to reinstate me to their restaurants any day now. Time went by. Wrestlers were sent to the WWE that were all managed by me. Bull Buchanan, Mark Henry, Sean O'Hare, Rico Constantino, John Cena, a few others. And then all of a sudden we get to where it comes to Lance Cade and Mark Jindrak they're wanting to get called up too. And they said, King, can you get me there? I said, well, if you sign with me, yes, I can get you there. I can get anybody to the WWE, including Mike Mondo. And then I get Mike Mondo and I send him to the WWE. Everybody laughed. Everybody said he's never going to see a day on OVW television, more or less WWE TV. Well, guess what? I got him there. So then it comes to Cade and Jindrak. And Cornette said to me, he says, I bet you $1,000 that you cannot get those two in the WWE. And it ain't so much Cade's fault, it's Jindrak's fault. Jindrak's so bad that they won't even look at Cade because of him. And I said, well, I bet you I can. And I'll tell you what, I'll have them there within 9 weeks. 9 weeks was the limit. I want you to know that 3 weeks later, they got a call. They were called up to the WWE, and I'm scheduled to do an interview in the ring to talk about an upcoming tag title match that Jindrak and Cade had against a couple of locals there at OVW. Well, I don't have a match because I don't have two wrestlers that have the belts anymore. They have now been called up. So when I got in the ring, I got a big grin on my face. I said, well, I'd love to talk to you about Cade and Jindrak. They're not here right now. Do you care to tell the people, Jimmy, where they are? Oh, yeah. Bolin's bragging because he's got Cade and Jindrak called up. I said, yeah, I told you I was going to get them called to the WWE, didn't I? And I said, you looked at me like I had a smoking turd in my mouth, right? You did. And then Jimmy starts laughing on the air. And then he tells me after the show that no one had ever said, to his knowledge, smoking turd on television except me. And I was very proud of that. So I made Jimmy laugh on live television because he lost it when I said smoking turd hanging out of your mouth. And then he referred to me, here he is, the old Starmaker. Everybody Brolin touches turns to gold. And it got to be true. And eventually I sent 54 men to the WWE and even relatedly sent Randy Orton, Brock Lesnar, and Batista because they were in huge feuds with me. Even Simon Dean, as bad as he was, and as big an irritant as he was, and as bad as everybody hated him and said he wasn't any good and he wasn't qualified to be in WWE television, through feuding with me and John Cena, we even got him called up. So that just tells you how great I am right there. I even got one guy called up in one day. He was, I'm blanking out on his name. I think he is a self-professed gay wrestler, young black man. And he was more known in TNA, and I'm blanking out on his name.
Orlando Jordan?
Orlando Jordan. And he was, and if he's not gay, I certainly apologize, but I heard that he's pretty open about it. And but he got called up in one day, and boy, the legend really grew then. They put Jordan with me one day, and the next day he was called up. That's pretty good. That's the Midas touch right there, son. So that's pretty much how I became known as the Starmaker, and sent 54 men to the WWE. The last person I sent would be the Miz. The Miz, I believe, would be the last one.
Get a call from JR or whoever was talent relations and say, look, we need somebody, and you give the recommendation.
Oh, no, that would have given me too much credit. That would have given me credibility. That would have given me the all the acknowledgement and accolades that I deserved. No, they would call Cornette and Danny Davis, who were not traveling up and down the roads with the wrestlers, who weren't going over with them with their promos, who wasn't coming up with angles and ideas in the car, doing 3, 6, and 9 hour round trips together. They took all the credit for that. I got little, if any, credit whatsoever. But if you want the truth, and a man who might even be as honest, if not more honest, than Vince Russo is, I should think of his name, Rico Constantino. He's going to shoot me for not being able to come up with his name instantly. But probably my very best friend there is right now, being as my other one decided he didn't want to be my friend anymore. So that's okay. He made that choice, not me. And Rico, let's face it, is one of the best people I know. He is a class act. He's been in law enforcement for the better part of 30 years. He lives to help people, and that's my kind of people. We talked about that last night on Vito's show, and I think it was my show, but Vito, his name's on it. That'll change. And the thing is that I like to hang with people who are like me, people who like to help people who are less fortunate than them. I'm not much on helping people who are fully capable of helping themselves and elect not to, but there are many out there who just don't have the resources. And they don't have to be on disability. They don't have to be a certain race. It could just be they're down on their luck. Everything they're trying just ain't panning out. But all I got to see is that you're trying. And if you're trying, I want to help you any way I can. And I'm far from rich, guys, but I know a lot of rich people. And so between the two of us, with me getting out there and doing the work, and my son and my daughter-in-law, we do as much as we can to help as many people as we can. And also we're known for being big animal lovers, and we do everything we can to help the animals. It seems like I take in about 12 strays a year, and if I don't give them a home, I find them a home, and I'm well known for that as well. So all kidding aside, that's the type of people I like to hang with.
Is there anybody that didn't get the call that you were like this person definitely needs to go, and for whatever reason they didn't take him and you felt it was a huge mistake?
One that didn't make it to the level I thought would be Sylvester Turkey. But Turkey was just such a natural fighter, because that's what he had done in Japan, and he worked real stiff. And there's a lot of wrestlers that didn't care for that. And I think that shortened his career in the WWE. And you talk about another guy with a heart of gold. A man, a very Christian, and I'm an atheist. And it's amazing how many Christian friends I have. You wouldn't think we would get along. We have two entirely different perspectives on life and how we got here and how we're going to go. But many of my best friends are preachers. It shocks even me, to be honest with you, because normally preachers aren't too much on hanging out with known atheists. And I've been one since I was 11 years old. But that's just my belief. I've told many people when they're going through crisis and I see them putting out the calls for prayers and this, that, and the other, like, hey, you know what? I'm not much of the prayer guy, but my thoughts are with you. And when all this pans out, I hope you're right. I hope there is a God, and I hope he does everything you think he's going to do. I'm just not on that wagon. I've been in the hospital 2 or 3 times where they thought I was going to die. There was a couple of times they sent a chaplain to my room, and I said, well, why are you here? Well, we want to know if you'd like for us to be here. Do you have any last wishes if anything doesn't go right with this surgery? And And I was, well, I'd be a bit hypocritical. I haven't been on that wagon since I was 11 years old. And I just feel it'd be very hypocritical if I'd be on that wagon now. So no, there's nothing for you to do here. I appreciate it. And somehow, some way, even though I'm an atheist, I pulled through those things 3 times and probably doing better now in my life than I've been in quite some time. So